All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Are you all alive?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Allow me to entitle this interaction, Trust Yourself. First of all, allow me to lay down the foundation that when we are speaking of the idea of trust, we are speaking of the idea that whatever it is that you truly believe, whether that belief is unconscious or conscious, but the bottom line of what you believe, the bottom line of what you sometimes call or say you have faith in is what we simply mean by trust. So allow me to begin by first saying that you always have trust in something. That fundamental belief is what allows your very reality to be created, to crystallize around you. And without trust, you simply would have no reality, no solid physical reality. It is a product of the trust of your higher self. Therefore, you never do not have trust. Very often, individuals will say, well, trust is very difficult to have. Faith is very difficult to have. I find myself doubting the things that I wish to create. Understand the paradox. Doubt is not a lack of trust. There is truly no such thing, again, as a lack of trust. However, doubt is an infinite trust, an unswerving trust in the thing you say you do not prefer. The reason that we point this out is that it allows you to see that it is not difficult to have trust. It is simply a matter of understanding where you have placed the trust you already have, and then deciding perhaps whether you prefer to maintain that trust in that direction, or whether perhaps you would prefer to have trust in something else that would then enable you to expand according to preference rather than randomly. When we speak about having trust, we will focus for the purposes of this interaction in three primary areas. First will be trust in your own inherent worthiness, your own inherent deservability. So, for a moment, allow us to digress to this particular idea. Most individuals in your society, if not all, have some notion, some representation of what you call, again, generally, God, what we prefer to call, for we feel it is a bit more precise, all that is. Understand that all that is, in a sense, can be referred to as the creator, but all that is truly has created is you, and then you then create your own reality. Being that as a creation of all that is, you are also a part of all that is, for it is all that is and can leave out nothing, not even you. So therefore, you are an extension of all that is itself. And all that is, the energy, the primary frequency of all that is unconditional love. This is a love that you simply cannot lose, no matter what you do, for there are no conditions upon it. We say this because being that you are a reflection of all that is, or infinite creation itself, you have any ability, perhaps microcosmically at this stage, that all that is has. And therefore, since all that is has the ability to unconditionally love, so do you. The simple understanding that this love is unconditional can bring great strength, for you can understand that no matter how in any given moment you may feel about yourself, you can always remind yourself that the love of all that is unconditional. Therefore, you are always loved. From the eyes of all that is, so to speak, you are truly worthy of existence. There was nothing that you needed to do to deserve to exist. So you therefore need not do anything to deserve to continue to exist. And within that existence, you are able to manifest your desires with integrity, to manifest your abundance. It is your birthright. It is not something that you must earn, though if one of the things you trust in is that you must earn it, you will get that effect. But that is all it is, an effect. Therefore, you may now remind yourself whenever and wherever appropriate, if you feel that you are getting down on yourself, berating yourself, that if you are willing in that moment to simply feel the unconditional love of all that is, since it is always there, you can always tap into it, you can always feel it, you can then mimic that vibration. You can then utilize that attitude to remind yourself to remove any conditions you have toward loving yourself. And unconditional self-love is the action that, in a sense, states to the universe that you believe you deserve to exist and that you are worthy to continue to exist and to create with an integrity according to preference. If you are creating with an integrity, it will never hurt yourself or others. Therefore, there is nothing negative in that sense about creating in this way. It will only provide service to you and to others. When you feel you doubt your own self-love, your self-deservability, your self-worthiness, remember, it is not that you have a lack of trust. It is simply that you are infinitely trusting that you are not worthy. So it is not a matter of gathering or mustering up this trust or faith. It is simply a matter of, again, allowing yourself to see where you have placed it, whether the placing of it was conscious or unconscious. The moment you realize where you have placed it, it is conscious. And then, and only when you have acknowledged it, can you then change it. And again, not even needing to create a new trust, simply taking the trust that already exists and applying it consciously with clear intention. So the first overall category will be trusting your deservability, your worthiness. Second, that we wish to discuss in regards to trust this evening is the idea of trusting the sign that your higher self bequeaths to your physical self that allows you to know in any given moment of any of the courses of action available, which is most representative of who you are. And the form of this sign that your higher self continually renders to your physical self is what you sometimes call within your vernacular, your excitement. That vibration, that excitement within integrity, always points you to the thing that is most you. And again, this is most obvious. If something excites you greatly, it takes very little effort to do it. It is a flow. It is effortless to do the things which excite you. The reason being they are a reflection of who you are. They are the sign from your higher self of who you chose to be in this life. And when you walk in step with your purpose, both in each given moment from what's available and the overall thing which excites you, when you walk in step with it, it is most effortless, for it simply does not take effort to be yourself. Where the effort comes in, where the fatigue comes in, is resisting who you are, is squelching, is repressing who you are, perhaps because other people say you should be a different way. You always know who you are. Very often individuals will buy into the idea, well, I must be this negative way because everybody always tells me I am. But this does not mean in your heart of hearts that you are. And you will always know when checking into that heart who you are, what you wish to do, what excites you, and where you stand. Your willingness to again begin to trust in that mechanism, trust in that vibration, will allow you to begin to walk again in step with your higher purpose. And by your willingness to even initiate that process will then lead to another set of choices, one of which will be very exciting. Then choosing and acting upon that then leads to another set of choices. So it creates a thread of purposefulness throughout your life, whereby you continually move in step with who you are, therefore effortlessly. It leads you to the next set of circumstances one or several of which will excite you. And it also allows the universe to continue to support you unconditionally, because now that you are choosing to be who you have chosen to be, the universe will provide and allow for whatever abundance that will allow you to continue to be that you. It already does this, but if your definition of that you is a limited you, then the form of this abundance is limitation. It may seem like semantics, but again, that is the gift that you get. You always get what you feel, what you truly trust that you deserve. That is why we began with deservability and have now moved on to the idea of excitement itself, that vibration of excitement itself. One third idea that we wish to discuss before proceeding to the interaction will be, again, trust in timing. Though you are, by nature, infinite, eternal, and multidimensional beings, this physical exploration is an exploration of certain self-imposed limitations. The reasons for these self-imposed limitations allows you to assume a particular focus and maintain that focus at the exclusion of the rest of your totality. One of the definitions within that exploration is the idea of time. Time is a creation. While you are creating it, it seems most real, but from the perspective of your overall soul or higher self, it is an illusion. While you are creating it again, though, it seems most real. And therefore, one of the things that are part and parcel of time is timing, the idea of unfoldment. Rather than experiencing yourself as one whole totality, you unfurl aspects of yourself along a timeline and experience the unfoldment as particular timings. Therefore, your willingness to have trust in timing takes the form of having your intentions, allowing yourself to establish your vision, what it is that excites you, what it is that moves you, brings you passion, the thing you wish to do. But then, being that, again, you are physical beings in a physical world, you may interact with the situations as they come up themselves and simply allow it to be obvious that something is immediately available or not. If it is not immediately available, you need not then jump to the assumption that it is being held from you, but simply understand that it is not the timing for that thing. And timing, again, from the perspective of your higher self, is quite purposeful. For the idea is, if you wish to do something in a given moment, and it is simply not available, what that reflects to you is that there are certain ideas that you still have not drawn into your experience, certain concepts that you have not familiarized yourself with, that would actually enable you and allow you to enjoy the thing you say you wish far more. So the timing is an advantage. If something is not immediately available in a given moment, if you maintain it as a clear intention, ground yourself back into the moment to see what is immediately available to act upon. Choose with your excitement from what is available, still maintaining the clear intention for the thing that is not available. This is in action, in practice, trusting your timing. You will always get everything you want. Although at first, when you begin to take back your power, it may seem as though you don't always get it when you want it. But this is because that when you want it does not take into consideration knowledge, resources, and timing. So therefore, if you are simply willing to trust when something is not immediately forthcoming, that there is some necessary information that will aid and assist you to enjoy that most fully, you can simply again resume your living in the moment. Choose from what is available, factoring out what is not, and again, keeping what is not as a clear intention allows your life to move in that direction. Although you don't always get what you want when you want it at first, eventually, by the way, you do, but you have many beliefs to transform before you will allow it. You do always have what you need when you need it. This is our definition of abundance, the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. This always exists, and your willingness to begin to trust in that mechanism and get in touch with that particular aspect, also allowing your abundance to come in whatever form it will, rather than narrowing it down that it only must come by one particular symbol. This allows you to unconditionally accept your abundance. And when you begin to act like a person who unconditionally accepts their abundance, the universe provides that abundance unconditionally. We simply remind you that if you are creating something you do not prefer, you need not say, well, obviously this is evidence that I do not create my own reality. It is simply evidence that perhaps you have placed trust in a particular set of ideas, not necessarily consciously. Therefore, once you see the idea that you do not prefer, see what it is you are trusting in. That allows you to take the trust you already have and reapply it to something else. Not needing to muster up or create trust or faith, simply transform it, reassign it. You are always trusting in something. And your willingness to acknowledge what you are trusting in, to acknowledge what you believe in, is the only thing that then allows you to change it. If you simply assume the new attitude, not having owned what you truly believe, that is denial. And you will get the constant effects and reminders that you are denying what you truly believe. But if you acknowledge what you truly believe, choose to believe something else, you can change it. Now, before we proceed again, we will provide very briefly the mechanism for doing so. You always create your reality, in a sense, in three phases. You first have belief systems. Those beliefs generate emotions or feelings, and those emotions generate thoughts. This complete triad or prism that comprises your personality is then the foundation by which you act. And it is in the physical world, the actions which literally then midwife in or create the reality according to those beliefs, emotions, and thoughts. So the bottom line is that it is your actions that create the reality. And there is an advantage in understanding this. For you can now do the same with a new preferred belief once you have acknowledged and owned the old unpreferred belief. And that is simply using your imagination. Create what you think a person who believed the new thing would feel, and allow yourself to feel it. You will be locking in place emotionally, emotionally, that idea within you. And that will then generate a set of thoughts that will correspond to that new preferred belief rather than the old belief. If the belief is different, the emotions will be different. If the feeling is different, the thoughts will be different. Therefore, it will be most simple to act in a different way, for you will have a different foundation. If you allow your imagination to work for you in this way as a tool, you can always formulate how a person with a new belief would act. Very simple. When you see this in your imagination, simply mimic it. Not having denied the original belief, acknowledging it, choosing to change it, seeing how a person with a new belief would feel, think, and acting the new way, then makes you, in that moment, the new person. And because you are doing something different, perhaps in the same circumstance, according to the new belief, you cannot help but get a new result. This is most obvious. Therefore, it is quite simple to change beliefs you do not prefer, but only first by owning it and being willing to act according to the new belief. What the universe sees as what you are trusting in is your actions. They literally do speak louder than words to the universe itself. And the universe always aligns itself with those actions, for those actions are the result of your conviction in some idea. Therefore, when you begin to act the new way, things change. Situationally, in a given moment, this is also quite accessible. If there is a situation which comes along that you find yourself within, and you see that you are acting a particular way that you do not prefer, You know you will have a negative outcome, but in the past have simply allowed yourself to automatically assume that behavior, get the negative outcome and say, why did I do that? I knew this would happen. I really didn't want to do that. I seem to not have control over my actions. Well, all right, that's one perspective. But the other perspective is to hand over that situation before you do act automatically to that imaginatory you. That you in your imagination, assigning a new belief, a new emotion, and new thoughts to the particular situation, you can extrapolate in your imagination what the new you would do in the same situation. And it will always be different from what the old you did. So therefore, it will always immediately provide you with a new approach, a new set of actions in quote unquote, the same old situation. And that cannot help but get a different result, even in the same situation. Also, by allowing yourself to see an alternative to the automatic actions, most often being that that new alternative is reflective of the new preferred you, it will be quite simple to pick. It will literally excite you more now that you have given yourself at least the option to act as the preferred you. Therefore, again, that in and of itself makes it more effortless, less tiring, less fatiguing. Therefore, from our trust that no matter what we share with members of your society, it will always be perfect for whoever is participating. It is no accident that anybody is present, and we trust that whether or not individuals choose to agree with what we are saying or to not agree with what we are saying, we are of service to them, for we help, in that sense, assist, in that sense, individuals to discover just that much more about who they are in a given situation. Therefore, our trust in who we are and our willingness to always maintain our particular attitude, no matter what everybody knows you should do, allows us to give gifts to you, receive gifts from you in interacting with you, and always know that we will all always be served, always be expanding, always be growing. And again, we remind you that the gifts we receive from you are equal to the gifts that you perceive we bequeath to you. For we are truly all equal. You are all equal to each other. We are all equal to each other, but we are also equal to you. Different expansions, different levels of focus of consciousness do not in any way, shape, or form denote better or worse, higher, meaning better, and lower, meaning worse. No. All creation is of equal quality. And your willingness to view us as your equals, as we already view you as ours, will allow you to meet with us in a middle ground and allow us to interact as equals. This is our desire. For nothing that we are sharing, none of the ideas which work for us in our society are better than anything you are doing. They are simply different alternatives, different options or ideas that if you wish, you can use. If you do not, even having looked at them, again, you have expanded your understanding of who you are. There is simply no way to lose in this situation. Therefore, for the gift that you give us and allow us in exchange to share with you, we thank you. At this time, we will proceed to the interaction. We always again ask that you participate in these interactions as equal to us. The tone of these interactions are set by you all, individually and collectively. So, if you will lighten up and have a good time, you can learn many things and still smile and laugh a bit. This is our particular perspective, for you can, if you wish, cry your way to higher consciousness, grumble, moan your way to higher consciousness, or you can laugh and have a ball. And in that sense, that would be our particular choice. You now have the option to choose as well. For your willingness to act as ambassadors and diplomats from your civilization, allowing me to act as an ambassador for our respective civilizations, I ask you now, how may I be of service to you? Shitting.
Elan.
Ace.
Hello.
Greetings.
It's good to talk to you again.
And you as well. All of you, always.
It's been an interesting day for me today, and it's what you were just speaking of about trust, and also giving you too much power. I've been doing that today. I find myself, when I'm in really a lot of need, I will call upon you and Bashar and another one of your friends up there. I'm not quite sure what name he has, but I call upon you to give me advice, to help. And what I think I'm doing is giving over my power to you and giving you more power than myself.
Well, understand, first of all, that we have offered to reciprocally act in this way. But again, I'll understand most fundamentally that everything is a reflection of you. So though there is the apparency that I am external to you, you are interacting with your particular version or portion of me. So most literally, you are still interacting with yourself. Your willingness to seek alternatives, shall we say, is quite positive. We, in that sense, will never take the power of any individual, for we simply have enough of our own. Thank you very much. But this, in a sense, does not mean that we cannot offer assistance. Since it will always be up to you to act on whatever is shared, it is still ultimately in your ballpark. And your willingness to even translate accurately what we are saying is your creation. So do not remove yourself too much from this process. Do proceed.
So when I'm asking you for advice, am I getting advice?
You are getting our perspective.
Because
Are you trusting what you get and then acting upon it is another question.
I do react to the first thing that comes in my mind.
All right.
So I take it as you are communicating to me, and I'm getting advice.
Is it of assistance to you?
It seems to be.
Is it always entirely empowering?
For me?
Yes.
Yes.
Then it is our energy. Is it in that sense ever suggesting that you have done it wrong, here is the right way to do it? And if the answer is yes, that would represent what you might colloquially call filtering. That would not be a message from us.
Okay.
In other words, you know the overall boundaries or parameters that we function within. So therefore, run them through your understandings, and you can, in that sense, weigh what information is directly from us. It will always be the empowering information. It will always remind you of, again, your ability in any given moment to love yourself unconditionally, and the willingness to unconditionally love yourself will return you back to a center point to allow you to act consciously rather than automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something specific you wish to share?
No, I just know that I've been doing it lately a lot. I've been asking for your assistance, and I have turned it over to not just asking for your help, but asking for advice on how I can love myself, more unconditionally, so I can heal a few different parts, that I need to work on.
Well, you are doing just fine.
Yes.
Have you noticed the advantages in acting in integrated ways that we share?
Yes, I'm using the advice that I have learned already.
Oh,
in the past and up till now.
Well, have a good time.
Yes. I'd like to ask a question about, I purchased one of these pictures that this person here had drawn, and I'm trying to figure out a name. Can you help me with the name of the drawing, the photograph that I have in my possession at home?
There is the possibility of us offering at least a suggestion, but it will require the channel physically seeing it, so perhaps at the break he can do so, and then we, in that sense, if we have something to add, we'll do it after that.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, that was it.
All right. If there is more, then we will return to you, and we thank you.
Thank you very much.
Shitting.
Hello.
Ace.
It's really good to be here again. I believe that I contacted your planet again in a meditation, and it was again, an absolutely beautiful feeling of unconditional love, and brought tears to my eyes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I guess what I'd like to know is, I tried to remember the symbol that I could use to reach out to you or make the connection, and I couldn't remember it, and I had a vision of the pictures that Maui had done, and I was wondering, is there something more specific? Was it a blue?
Well, what you are speaking of is the idea of a black background with a black triangle upon it, and what allows it to stand out in relief is a slight backlighting or hue of blue-white light. But understand, as you have demonstrated perfectly, that there is many symbols that you can use to tune into our vibration. Anything that your imagination provides, simply trust it as you did, and in a sense, you get a line. Understand that in general, what tunes you into our frequency most precisely, however, is emotion, energy, motion itself. So therefore, you are most likely to very quickly hook up with our stream of consciousness by recreating, when you are in your meditative state or any version thereof, how interacting with us allows you to feel. This, in a sense, will be our strongest phone number. For all those who are perhaps new to this interaction, we communicate through several physiological channels in this way. The channels are willing to allow their consciousness to be diffused. They are not unconscious, and we are not inhabiting the body, but diffused to the point where we can create a model of utilizing their energy to represent our thoughts and intentions. However, our stream, our particular, shall we say, attitude, is always, and again, this is colloquial, beamed to your planet and can be accessed by any individual simply, again, by recreating how interacting with us allows you to feel. Therefore, we are, in that sense, quite available. Do proceed.
Would there be a way? I mean, I do have trouble trusting that what I felt was real, but it feels...
Now, were you present for the beginning of this interaction? You have absolutely no trouble trusting. What are you trusting in?
I'm trusting that it's not possible.
All right. You now have your power back. Now that you know where you are trusting, it is not a matter of creating a whole new sense of trust. Simply transforming or moving slightly to the left the trust you already have. Therefore, now that you have this new perspective, play with that. By seeing what it is you already trust in, that is another, shall we say, maybe sneaky way for us to allow you to get in touch with what you truly believe. As many doors as we can find, we will open. That is simply one.
Okay. This might be too personal a question, but I'll see what kind of answer you give me. I think
Well, all right.
It's a general question. In the search that I'm going through right now to find out things that have gone on in my past, which I feel unnecessary to uncover since I'm already seeing visions of some of them. Is there anything you can tell me to help me in this way? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Do you mean past within this life or past lives?
Well, it's this life. I know it has also occurred in past lives, but
perhaps the strongest idea that will be of assistance is this. Obviously, you have done many things as you all have in your life. Therefore, focus on the significance of what comes up, when it comes up, trust in timing, and how that relates to what you are now exploring. It allows you to look at many issues from many different sides or facets. As you change and redefine who you are, you check back and get a well-rounded view from many angles of a particular idea. So therefore, how does it relate to a current exploration is one way to ground it, allow you to come to certain recognitions, and then, and here's always the key, then act on the information. For information is only as useful as your willingness to apply it in a physical world. So therefore, if something is not applicable, move on. If it is applicable, look at it and apply what the recognitions allow you to now redefine within yourself. Is that too general?
No, I understand that.
All right.
Thank you.
And to you. Sherry.
Law.
Yes.
Greetings, friend.
And to you.
Today I was formulating questions for you, and I found the answers coming.
Oh, what a coincidence. Do understand from our perspective what a question is. A question is simply an answer placed outside of yourself for validation. You already always contain the answer to any question that you ask. Now, many of you are saying, yeah, sure. Allow me to very simply prove it to you. If you ask a question that you say, I absolutely do not know the answer to this question. Someone then answers the question. You say, yes, that's right. How did you know? Understand, again, it is simply seeking outer validation. You are now more willing to begin to trust your inner validation. For that, we thank you. Do proceed.
Thank you. Well, as an exercise in trusting myself, perhaps I could share with you the question and the answers.
Well, all right.
All right. The first question related to Trevor Osborne's organization, World Harmony.
All right. Again, assume that individuals know not what you are saying and briefly but concisely allow everybody to participate.
Well, okay. Trevor Osborne is an inventor, an Australian, a good friend of many associated with Bashar and Elan. He has set up an organization called World Harmony in Australia. It will eventually embrace all of the world. It is an organization designed to communicate progressive information and technologies and to provide some means for funding those technologies when necessary. It's meant to knit the peoples of the world together in a harmonious way. Basically, that's what World Harmony is all about.
Do proceed. Remember the briefly part.
The question was, I'd be especially interested in your ideas regarding Trevor's fastest way to establish himself solidly financially.
All right. What was the answer you received?
The answer was, continue to be absolutely forthright in depicting the organization as a medium for the harmonization of various interests. It is, in a sense, a great integrator that has been formed. Keeping to the purity of purpose will be a key to its success.
All right. One addendum. He is already doing it.
Great.
So remind, again, as you sometimes say in your vernacular, to pat himself on the back and not run himself ragged. The willingness to nurture his self as well enables him to serve others. And only to the degree that he is willing to allow himself to be served will he have the ability to serve others. Do proceed.
Thank you. The next question was, what is it that makes the Iroquois Confederacy Compact truly progressive? In a former session, you have indicated that Trevor and his organization might benefit from some study of the Constitution of the Iroquois Confederacy.
As well as Seneca and other tribes who were, in that sense, in that area, cooperating, established many ideas of mutual cooperation without some of the ideas you may label vested interests and corruption of that style. This was the original intention of your own Constitution and Articles of Confederation, though, again, they were slightly altered. Do proceed. We were suggesting the original source would, in that sense, provide a very equitable, a very fair, and very empowering Constitution.
Okay. Well, thank you. And the information that I received along similar lines is egalitarianism. All the tribes are equal.
Ace.
At the same time, the tribes as a collective form an entity, which also deserves equal recognition. The collective of tribes is, in a sense, the tribe that presses forth in the handling of questions and issues that pertain to all the tribes collectively. That was the information I received.
All right. And number 3.
Number 3. This is a question by proxy, and the asker is Robert Zegedy, an inventor whom you may recall from the Bashar channeling in Elmira, New York, some time ago.
All right. Do proceed.
The inventor seemed a bit paranoid at that time. He's become quite intrepid. He has just returned from the Amazon, the 300 miles into the interior of Ecuador, in fact. And he's brought a little gold with him, and he's now planning on an expedition to go back with ultralight aircraft.
How exciting.
Yes. And he's interested in any advisements or suggestions you might have about this project, which involves a great many dangers.
All right.
Spiders that leap out of the jungle at you. There are fish that attack you, and all kinds of stuff.
And what did you receive?
My answer to this question?
Ace.
If that's what excites you, go for it.
All right. Very similar to our own, which would be have a good time.
Any technical advice?
Again, should things come out of the woodwork, look at the symbology of them rather than running in terror.
Right.
All externalized ideas are symbols of ideas within yourself. A neutral set of props, but it becomes, shall we say, polarized when you assign a meaning. So therefore, whatever occurs, it will always be his opportunity to interpret in a positive or a negative way. His willingness to interpret it positively will yield a positive result. Very simple.
Yes. Well, thanks, and for Bobby, thanks too. I think that Bob is a brilliant inventor, and when he does things like this, I become a little concerned because...
Oh, concerned? All right.
Concerned.
He will be just fine. Trust his excitement as well as your own.
Right.
The fact that his excitement is different from you is conveniently represented in the fact that you are different people. Therefore, you need not go too.
That's a relief. I'll help him spend the gold.
All right. Again, we remind you, if there were only one way, there would only be one person. Look around. There are many ways, many individuals, many ways. Each person is not on a path. Each person is a path. And because you can never be off of yourself, there is simply nothing you can do to knock you off your path. You create the path as you walk, so to speak. We thank you.
And thank you.
Shedding.
Elan,
Yes.
you one time talked about the dolphins in here and said that they were like aliens on our planet.
From our perspective, when extraterrestrial civilizations scan your planet for sentient species, self-reflecting, self-thinking species, as you consider yourself to be, we come up with 2, not 1. Land humans, water cetaceans, yes.
I had planned to go down to Florida to swim with the dolphins. And,
Well, how exciting.
well, I thought so until I heard a program on television where they were talking about how many of the dolphins in captivity die within a short period of time. And so my question to you was, why?
Before you proceed, perhaps we can answer this. This is also a concern of ours and the dolphins as well. So the idea is that to meet the need, or shall we say, the desire for interspecies communication upon your planet in this way, for again, your willingness to open up to the other alien species right at your own back door tells the universe you are willing to interact with other species, which then opens the front door for us. Understand that there has been more recently in your history the creation of what you might call open sea, open ocean centers, whereby rather than the dolphin population being contained within a tank, they have the option to swim in and interact or swim back out. Therefore, we would suggest when doing this type of thing to attract that to yourself rather than the contained units. Do you understand?
Yes.
They exist.
I know they do. Why have the dolphins allowed themselves to do this?
It is their joy en masse to begin to communicate with the other species on their planet, you. Therefore, there are individuals, in a sense, who will, for lack of a better term, sacrifice in this way. Then there are others who are simply captured and get used to it, just as if one human captures another.
So then I'm not really hurting them by going down and swimming them.
Oh, no. And in fact, if you go down and your intention is to unconditionally, lovingly interact with them, even if they are captive in this way, your love can only serve as a healing. Your love will be felt and returned. But again, there are these open sea ideas which you may wish.
I have always had dreams, but I usually don't remember them. And lately, I have been having a tremendous amount of dreams that I'm really aware of when I wake up.
Well, how exciting. You are getting in touch with other portions of your consciousness.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Was there something I should do with that?
Whatever, again, exactly as you have worded it, you actually can do. In other words, certain things will simply be irrelevant to your waking life and activities and attitudes. Other things may allow you to see something about yourself that can then be applied into this particular dream. Again, we remind you from our perspective, that is not fake and this is real. They are both dreams. They are both dream realities. Perhaps you can call that your sleeping dream reality and this your waking dream, but you are dreaming right now. In order to bridge what you might call the gap between the two dreams, which are actually two manifestations of one overall reality, your willingness to, again, apply whatever you can from that reality to this reality begins to bridge the gap. As you begin to live this dream fully and begin to exhibit some of your more multifaceted abilities that are available in that dream because of your definitions and not in this one, as you are willing to bring those into this one, there will no longer be the need or the reason for the two separate dreams, and they will meld into one waking conscious dream. So therefore, apply whatever it is you can. Also understand that when you are in that other aspect of your being, again, you are truly never unconscious. You are always conscious in some way. That consciousness is altered and has particular styles of expression. But when you are in your sleeping dream, you allow yourself to access more of the totality of your being. Much of this expanded knowledge, this expanded experience has no framework, no translation when funneling back into this particular dream or reality, which has very rigid definitions. So you always have that experience. You always check in with these other portions of your being. But if there are no symbols in this reality to assign as a memory, then you may come back with the sense that you have been very busy, but no discrete memories. Does this help?
Yes.
Is that all?
Yes, thank you.
We thank you for your willingness to live your dream and dream your life. Shedding.
Elan?
Yes.
I'm being drawn to a place that 6 months ago I didn't really even know existed in Sedona, Arizona.
Have a good trip.
And I'm going next week.
All right.
And I would like to know if there's any special thing I should know about Sedona before I go. And if there's anything that is going to open up or happen for me when I go there.
Many things will open. They will be within your consciousness, though there may be some idea of what you would call physical manifestations. Very simply and concisely, again, we will at least explain that that particular area contains what you would call a electromagnetic vortex. This electromagnetic vortex, as the many other located around and about your planet, is in a sense analogous to the planet's chakras. They are gateways of energy. They are literal doorways that bridge many overlapping realities and dimensions. You can, if you wish, call them interdimensional gateways or doorways. So while you are there, simply remain open. Allow yourself to be attracted to wherever it is that you are very strongly drawn to. Allow yourself to assume whatever form that you consider a meditative state. This can be sitting with eyes closed, breathing deeply, or simply doing something that excites you within those areas, and keep your eyes out. Many connections within you will be established from your willingness to utilize your female energy, your receptive energy, to receive this excites me, this attracts me. But what allows you to create the balance is then expressing your male energy, your active energy, and go there, act upon it. Getting the impression, receiving the excitement is half, shall we say, the process. The other half is then being willing to act upon it. So you have both aspects in place and can have no experience there that is not expanding, growing, and again will bridge many gaps and allow you to homogenize and look at what you have formerly considered to be many portions of yourself and begin to homogenize them into one full being. But there is also the opportunity for certain, shall we say, contact from what you might call particular guides. So simply remain open with no insistence that it must go a particular way. When you have a rigid expectation that I expect this to happen and I expect it to happen in this way, you then very often are tunneling your vision to such a degree that you do not allow yourself to see the other ways that perhaps it can occur easier. So have expectancy, an overall expectancy that something positive will occur because you are attracted, but not an expectation that it must only come in a particular way. This will be the most open attitude you can assume. Is that of assistance?
Yes, very much so. Can I, one more question. Is there a chance that I will reestablish contact with an energy that contacted me a couple of years ago in Florida?
Shall we say it is most likely, yes.
Thank you.
That is one of the reasons for the attraction, but again, rather than opening your presence for you, go forth and unwrap. Is that all?
Yes.
Elan?
Ace.
Hi.
Greetings.
Hello. Yeah, I'm in the midst of a job search. And sometimes I have total faith that I'm right where I'm supposed to be and the right job will open and all that good stuff. And I do have a pretty strong sense of sort of what I'd like to do. And it's pretty flexible and pretty open. And other days, the despair that I'm not making the right decisions about where to put my time.
Oh, well, how exciting. Now, why did he say that? I'll tell you. Because on those other days, that is the opportunity to see again, not that you are not having faith, but where you are misplacing your faith. And by owning where it is you are trusting on those days is actually your greatest opportunity right now for growth. Paradoxically, when things are peachy keen, you do not allow yourself to drum up many of the beliefs you do not prefer that you have bought into unconsciously. But when things seem to ruffle up a little bit, that allows you to see what I am still having trust in, what I am still having faith in. Now that we remind you, you do not have a lack of faith, simply that you are having faith in something you do not prefer. Those are opportunities to own and transform that as we had shared earlier. Therefore, congratulations. Did not expect that response now, did you?
No.
When you can give yourself that same response, all your liabilities become your greatest assets.
Oh, goody.
Now, that's the spirit.
All right. All right. So just be aware, say thank you, and turn around my attitude on those days.
Well, again, when you say, today is the day I am not having faith, then add, oh yeah, that Elan guy told me that I always have faith. So what am I having faith in today? Oh, I'm having faith in this very negative thing. Very interesting. Why would I do that? This allows you to open up a dialogue, which then expands your self-discovery. Simply, you can only add to your totality.
Okay, that's not what I want to hear, but very helpful.
Oh, if there is something you wish to hear, you can simply state it and save us the time.
The other thing, it's probably somehow the same thing, but is when I can live in the present and just, sort of see each activity as something, I don't know, fun in itself or okay in itself, it's pretty much, my attitude is pretty good. It's when I start looking at what's happening right now in terms of outcome. In other words, oh, well, this man is interesting to talk to in this, potential job situation, but I don't really see a job here, therefore I won't get a job here, therefore I'm wasting my time.
All right, again, we remind you, we had just spoken to this other individual, the distinction between expectancy and rigid expectations applies here quite nicely. Also, if you are in touch with what excites you, what moves you with your passion, and you then dovetail that and using your language get a job doing that, then it is no job at all. Then it is simply you getting paid to express who it is you came here to be. Very effortless. It becomes your play rather than your work.
Thank you.
And to you.
Shutting
Ace.
This is the first time I've shared with you, so I'm a little bit nervous. I was here once before.
All right, it is our first time as well. And we revel in the opportunity.
Thank you. Last week, my 27-year marriage ended in divorce. And in the process of the divorce, I went through an awful lot of fear and love, I guess, all those emotions. And the bottom line was I ended up settling without taking any alimony and feeling that that was the right thing to do because I didn't want to go to trial and have a lot of fighting.
All right, but what?
But now that it's all over, I'm not trusting, or I guess I'm trusting that I made the wrong decision.
Thank you.
And all these fears are coming up, and I'm afraid I can't support myself, and that it's just all too much.
Can you take this opportunity to get in touch with your excitement?
Actually, I can, because what you just said about when you find what you love and you do it.
It is no effort at all.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've done. But there's a fear around that won't support me financially.
Well, the universe has supported you doing the things that you perhaps have not preferred. So what is there that would even suggest that it would support you any less, choosing to be who you wish to be? Simple logic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does it sound too good to be true?
Yes.
All right. Then you can look at why you would believe that anything would be too good for you. Nothing is. Your willingness and ability to desire it, to perceive it, to know that you wish to participate in it is all the prerequisite you need to understand that you have the capability to manifest it. Thus, and perhaps nobody has yet told you that, however. Therefore, you can understand that the excitement itself, the desire itself is all the prerequisite you need. Simply proceed. If you are acting on what excites you, there is no time for fear. You are simply always moving, always in motion, and creating a flow with your purpose rather than a back current against it, so to speak. All right. Is there something else you wish to understand?
I feel like I definitely have the energy, and I heard you say before about, the feminine and receiving and getting very excited about it. And I'm doing some of it.
So in other words, perhaps you are saying you hang up on the male end. And again, male and female are again being shared in terms of energy, not gender.
Yes.
But again, you always have the ability to act on anything. So it is simply a matter of applying a saying upon your planet. Go for it.
That sounds good.
Oh, all right. It can be good. We can never prove anything that we say, but you can always prove it. Because when you do it, it will have an effect. It will have a change. Then you will have your proof.
Thank you.
Again, The mechanism functions flawlessly. The universe supports whoever you are, whoever you feel you deserve to be. So if you simply understand that it makes just as much sense that you deserve to do the things you wish to do, and that doing them will put you in the frame of mind to enable you to be of more service to others, that you deserve that as well as something that perhaps you have bought into because other people said you should.
Oh, thank you.
And to you. Shetty.
Elan,
Ace.
I would like to ask to follow up what you were saying about the vortexes of energy, and I'd like to include in this question the places we would refer to as sacred sites.
Ace.
At the equinoxes and solstices, I have some understanding that the electromagnetic energy of the Earth changes.
Ace. There are still concentrations, however, in the areas that you label vortices, though the characteristics will change, and those particular interfaces, shall we say, are very conducive periods of timing for, again, interdimensional penetration of consciousness.
Today, earlier today was the equinox.
Ace.
Can you help me to understand more what that energy shift is at, say, the spring equinox?
Well, in a sense, you can understand, for the purposes of analogy in this instance, that it is representative of rebirth, recreating yourself after perhaps taking a slight snooze anew. Very literally. Therefore, happy birthday, go forth and do.
All right.
In your instance, perhaps you may wish to hop a train, since the particular locations that are attracting you are quite far.
I'd like to ask about one of them then right now, if I may.
All right.
This one, actually, I think I need an airplane for, but there's a place in Guatemala called Tikal, and it's an ancient site of the Mayas. And I have several questions about it, but one was about the name. Someone told me recently that a possible older name for it is can you help to Taxal-Wadil? And can you confirm anything like that for me?
Right now, there is no immediate knowledge, shall we say, contained within the channel to draw upon. For again, we remind you that we are not speaking your language. Therefore, we depend on whatever vocabulary, understandings, and constructions of words are available in any given channel.
All right. I'll ask a different one. Is this, in your perception, a place where one of the crystal skulls or crystal skulls were fashioned? At Tikal?
It is more our sense that one or two were present there more than created there.
Do you have the sense that I personally had something to do with their fashioning? Or had something to do with Tikal at one point?
There is more the idea of perhaps what you can say caring for it than actually fashioning it from our perception.
I see. My understanding is that there are 13 crystal skulls and that 12 of them have been discovered. Would you have a recommendation if I wanted to work with one of them? Would you have a recommendation of which one of those?
Yes, although we are not aware of where it is physically located upon your planet at this time, there is some sense that it is in what you would label a museum, but it would be, one moment, what has been termed by your archaeologists as the Mitchell-Hedges skull. That would be our strongest suggestion,
All right.
which we have already shared.
Yes, thanks for confirming that.
And to you.
I'll let the floor go to other people. Thank you at this time.
And we thank you as well. Shetty.
Elan.
Ace.
Hi,
One moment to the last individual. Happy trails.
Thank you so much.
Do proceed.
I've learned a lot about trying to discover my negative beliefs.
Oh, trying. Very tedious process.
Painful.
All right.
Painful. It's
We refrain from the usage of that word, for all the doing of trying is not the doing of the thing, but the doing of trying. There is a slight removal, shall we say, in commitment with that word. Do proceed.
Well, I'm committed to discovering my negative belief systems and also to creating new positive beliefs when I can be aware of what I'm trying to what the belief is, so that I can reverse it or create a new one.
All right. Very positive, very integrative.
What there's kind of two paths I'm following. One is to fake it till I make it and create positive beliefs.
All right. But again, that can be a denial. And it is the acknowledging of the beliefs that you truly hold that liberates you, that frees you from them, not the simple denial of them. For when you deny them, so to speak, you place them in a closet you may call the unconscious, and they grow.
I'm able to nurture myself with positive feelings and affirmations and beliefs. I guess my real question to you is, I'm attempting to speed up my process, I suppose.
Oh, all right. May we make a simple suggestion? Sure. When we had discussed earlier that you have belief systems that generate emotions and thoughts, understand that you can work those either way. Therefore, one of your greatest opportunities to nail down these unconsciously bought into beliefs will be when you find yourself in what you sometimes call, colloquially, a tizzy. For any emotion that you have that you wish you did not have, that you are labeling as a negative emotion, does not exist in a void, in a vacuum. It is always, no exceptions, always a response, a reaction to a belief. So turning this around, what this means is each time one of these emotions that generally people go, oh no, here it comes again, comes up, it is an opportunity to ask yourself the simple question: what must I believe to feel this way in these circumstances? Then you have it. Once you have that belief, thank yourself. Thank you, thank you. How fascinating. I have this belief. I can even perhaps remember buying into it as a child. I do not prefer it. No, thank you. Here's the new belief. This is how one would feel with the new belief. Here's how one would think. Here's how one would act. Now, in this same situation, I will act this way, remembering that I had that belief and transformed it to this one. That makes the difference. And then you are not faking it till you make it. You are being it.
I guess I've become aware of some of these core belief systems, and they're usually pretty shocking. I have experienced a lot of resistance in remembering them. And so one of my thrusts in my personal development is to remember those things and I'm trying to remember the feelings and remember what happened to me. And there was love, but there is also trauma.
Well, may we make a suggestion in those cases? Since you always recreate the past in the present, you never relive it, you never, in a sense, experience it again, but you create your version of it in the present. Allow yourself, with whatever you feel occurred in your quote-unquote past that was unresolved, to run through that scenario again. Bring up those emotions. Feel them, however. This time, now do what you wished you had done. Now say what you wished you had said. Feel the satisfaction of making the communication that perhaps you squelched or repressed at that time. Then, when you are recreating a memory of a past, at least you will have another option. But it will be no less real than what you are perceiving happened, because what you perceived happened was a set of neutral props, quote unquote, back then. You, according to your beliefs, had a particular interpretation of them, again, according to who you were. Now, when you look back at that, you are a different you. So you are now looking at your interpretation of that old you's interpretation of what actually happened and not what actually happened. And you are very generally then using this to perpetuate in the present something you do not prefer. You can turn it around. Again, allow other options to be available. Play out what you wished you had done. Feel the emotional satisfaction of having done it. And that will be just as real in the present moment as any other recreation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's perfectly complements, what I'm trying to do. I guess I'm looking for
what you are doing.
What I am doing.
Yes.
I guess I'm looking for it's very difficult for me to identify the feeling, to remember to identify the belief, or to...
If you say so, but you write the rules. So therefore, it is very difficult to is only one rule. Simply, whenever you are in upset, ask yourself, what must I believe in this moment to be feeling this? It is that simple.
I have a pattern of resistance.
All right. Well, that pattern is your recreation of a past set of events in the present. You are perpetuating that pattern by saying, I have a pattern. A pattern is something that you do unconsciously, continuously. But since you have just told me consciously, I have a pattern, you no longer have a pattern. It is now a choice. Thank you very much.
I wish to gain more direct access for pictures or feelings of my early traumas.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because I think it'll make my choice of beliefs much more direct. I'm very scattered.
Again, you can spend many, many, many hours of your time tediously creating a process of this style. Or you can simply go about your moment-to-moment business, choosing from what's available what excites you, and one at a time, in perfect timing, emotions will come up, and looking at them that way will trace back to all these things you are wishing to access. In perfect timing to handle it, rather than forcing it when you are not at all excited about doing it. So simply trust it, allow it to come out as it does. Understand there is only a finite number of things there. So as each one comes up and you integrate it, and it may take a bit of time to do that, it is the perfect timing, and there is one less limiting belief. It is not a bottomless pit. Allow the situation to present itself within the timing that it does. And now that you will perhaps look at the idea of trusting that timing, allow the form of that trust to take the form of, all right, this is coming up right now. How exciting. Not only does this mean that I can transform this, but it means this is the perfect time to do so. Then you need not be so, shall we say, conscious about drumming it up. It will come up in perfect timing. Do you understand at least the concept to proceed?
Yeah, I guess what I've been doing is approaching my personal development more as work than fun.
Oh, thank you. You need not. That is one option.
Thank you.
If you play, if you allow yourself to have a bit of fun, then you will release and re-nurture what you sometimes call the child within that never dies. That will enable you to recapture, recreate, re-express that childlike fascination, which thereby allows you to appreciate what you have already created. Are we getting there?
Oh, you're hot. You're right on it.
Oh,
okay.
I feel quite comfortable, but we understand the reference. At this timing, we wish to express to you our unconditional love and appreciation and trust that you are not achieving in your expansion a perfection. No, you are already, always perfect. Always a perfect example of whatever it is you are exploring and expressing in any given moment. You will grow, yes. You will expand, yes. It is automatic, it is continual, on into infinity. You will never stop expanding and growing. But this need not mean that you need forsake what you have already created. You can use what you have already created in a positive way. You can use it to nail down the beliefs and emotions you no longer wish to manifest. Your willingness to trust yourselves as much as we trust you unconditionally. Your willingness to trust in your deservability, to trust in your excitement with integrity, and to trust in your timing will enable you to unfold according to preference, only experiencing positive effects. It is up to you. Balance need not mean 50% ecstatic, balanced by 50% misery. You can experience 100% ecstasy, though because you are in a world of polarity, you are most likely to always be aware of negativity. You need not experience it personally, and can thereby then be of assistance to others who are still choosing to do so. We trust in you. Trust yourself. We bid you a most fond and loving good evening.